Alright gamers, it is time to admit it. I have an ancient Wiccan curse on my bloodline that causes every game I support and recommend to other people to die awfully in a short period of time. I came to this conclusion over many months and actually years of my life, where it seems like every live service game that I'm quite fond of and I even make videos about ends up going into the shitter rather quickly. Either the game goes downhill because of developer decisions, changes in the gaming landscape, or anything else you could think of. But I'll tell you what, another one hit the bin this month. Wildgate. I made 2 videos about it and endorsed the game to basically everybody I knew. My entire friend group played in the testing period of the game, in the open betas, and it was a fucking blast. It is a beautiful blend of extraction shooter and Sea of Thieves energy in space, with unique mechanics and visuals all over the place. The game is dripping with flavor. It is a wonderfully fun game. And it's a little on the expensive side. You see, they didn't go the free-to-play route, which I think is fair. You don't have to go the free-to-play route. I think that that is a fallacy of our game development sphere in 2025, to think that every game that is live service needs to be free. It doesn't. You just need to get a lot for what you're paying for, and Wildgate doesn't give you a lot for what you're paying for. It's above the mark. It's double the price of other indie games in the space, or infinite times the price of other indie games in the space if they're free to play. So it's already going into a very heavy competition field, and it doesn't do a lot to differentiate itself besides the stellar gameplay. The gameplay of Wildgate truly is incredible and deserving of merit, but the game just doesn't have everything else a live service game needs in 2025. And that's part of the conversation, right? Why do we have such insane expectations for games in 2025? You can't have a game that is multiplayer focused and have it survive for a long period of time. It just doesn't happen anymore. And if it happens, that game came out years ago. Because back in the day, I have this theory, this wonderful theory that it's less of a theory and it's more of something I've noticed. Back in the day, games like Dead by Daylight, Hunt Showdown, multiple live service games, they had time afforded to them. They were given money from investors, and publishers, and then they were given time to release updates, fuck everything up, and fix them. They were given a lot of leeway. There's so many ups and massive dips in Dead by Daylight's player charts, even fucking League of Legends player charts, big massive games like that too. But back in the day, you were allowed to have those, that ebb and flow of the player count, the development. You were allowed to have bad patches. You were allowed to have time afforded to you, a year to fix your game, years to fix your game, and then your game gets to an incredible spot. There's a ton of actual content in the game, a lot of great updates, it's super balanced, and everything works out so well for you. But that takes years. That takes actual fucking years, and games aren't given years anymore. Live service games are given 2 months. If you don't have fucking 100,000 players in 2 months, right to the shitter. Bin the game, bin the whole development studio, fuck it. Throw it all in the fire, who cares? Why is that? What changed from investors in the last 10 years that made new live service games so fucking impossible to try and get into the space with? God forbid you're an indie dev. Not even just indie devs. Massive game studios have been fucking this up, dude. Rainbow Six Siege, incredibly huge game in the world. Massive game, massive live service game. Ubisoft's magnum opus right now. Out of everything they're doing, they're making the most money from Siege, I believe. They released Rainbow Six Extraction. Dead. DOA, dead on arrival, dead within months, no more support. Gone, goodbye, Lebozo. The fucking Concord from Amazon Game Studios. Of course that shitter died. But it died in like a week? And don't get me wrong, Some games deserve to get binned. Concord is the perfect example of that. I just can't understand why every game, no matter how big the studio, no matter how great the developers, is given such a small window of time to make it work. Think about it. Think of any random ass live service game you tried in early access, thought it was a blast, showed your buddies, they all downloaded it, it was free to play, it was a fucking blast, maybe you bought some cosmetics in there, it was a great time. And then one day you have that moment where you're just like, I don't really feel like playing it today. And that day turns into a week, which turns into a month. And then 6 months later, you're bored and you're scrolling through your Steam library and you see that game and go, oh shit, I remember that. Let's give it a try. And it's dead. Servers are offline. Development studio is shelved. It's gone. Why? Other games were given actual years to make it work. And there's probably a lot more that smarter men than I could figure out, right? I'm assuming the cost of development has gone up drastically over time. I know it has. Wages have gone up. The cost of server space has gone up. The cost of everything's going up. So maybe that's a big part of it. But at the same time, a lot of these investors have been making more money anyway. So what they have all this money. Why can't we afford to take a loss to make a great game that will sustain us in the future? We don't get that luxury anymore. If it's not great on release, it gets shelved. I don't know why. It's such a fucking shame because games with so much potential are binned, and then games that are just dirtling and wasting time get all the time in the world. Games get stagnant. Hunt Showdown's the perfect fucking example. The game was stagnant forever, but it was allowed to be stagnant forever. Eventually, a lot of huge updates came out for the game, a lot of big sweeping changes, engine updates, the whole fucking nine, which allowed a lot of people to come in the highest player charts the game had ever seen, right? But that took years. And now you don't get that luxury. What fucking changed? And I just want to say that I know I'm saying Wildgate's dead. It's not actually dead. The servers are still up, but they're down to 100 fucking players from over 10K in 2 months. It's not doing great. Now, the developers are still working on it, and they've actually been talking very frequently in the forums for people asking, is this game dead? No, we're not dead, is what they'll say. They have a lot of updates coming up, and they're working very hard to make that happen. So, maybe it's possible, but the writing's on the wall for me. 100 players in 2 months, dude? Yikes. You're pushing Battle.right numbers. And bear in mind, Battle.right is one of my favorite fucking games ever. I'll play Battle.right right now. 1v1 me. I'll play Baco. I'll play Croak. I'll smoke you like a backwood. But it's just a great fucking question. That's another thing. Let's talk about that. Battle.right is a game that has had less than 100 players for like 2 fucking years straight. And it's still online. Stunlock has not shut down the servers for Battle.right. I could still load up Battle.right for free and play it with my friends in private servers right now. The servers are still live. You can play public games. So why is a game like Battle.right afforded so many years of literally 0 players, and games from bigger development studios with more money get shut down like that? I just don't get it. Some games leave the servers on fucking forever. Hell, Guild Wars 2 still has servers on live, and they've gone on record saying it costs them so little money to host the servers for Guild Wars 2, they will never shut down the game. It will always be live. But why is it not the same for everything else? Huh. It's a lot to think about. And trust me, I stay thinking about it a lot. I just don't know the answers. And that's another wonderful topic of conversation. It's not just that the games have to hit the ground running with 1 billion fucking players to stay live. It's also the fact that these poor fucking developers have to fill the game with infinite content as quickly as possible. So bear in mind, it took games like Dead by Daylight years to get the level of content that they have. And yet, every other competitor in the space gets to launch and die in months. Dead by Daylight has had a slew of its own competitors in its own space. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a ton of fucking games. They're all gone or dying rapidly. And it is such a fucking shame. Each individual game has its own issues, of course, but we used to have time for that. We used to take months and months and months to iron out the issues in the game, fill it with more content, add more cosmetics, fix the balancing. We got time for that. Now you get 2 months, hit the ground running, get a million fucking players, and keep them some fucking how, or your game gets shut down. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm in a weird spot in my life right now, and I really wanted to talk to you in a face-to-face with this nice-looking tree behind me. I just want you to know, if you want to be a fucking game developer, do it. Go indie. I wouldn't go big or go to a big studio that's probably going to fuck you over. But if you want to go indie, please make a fucking game. I would love to review your game. Even if it's got 100 downloads, I would love to give it a fucking view. I love playing small games and getting more eyes on them if I can. I love helping other people's creations get seen by the masses because we have so many widespread, huge failures that are widely publicized, but there's tons of wonderful small projects that don't get seen, and I want yours to get seen. I wasn't gonna make this a spokes video at the end of it, but I guess that's where I've ended up. So, fuck it. If you're a small indie developer, reach out to me if you want to get some exposure to your game. I have not a lot of subscribers, but I would love to make a video on yours. Thank you. Where was I going with this? Did I even hit record on my fucking phone? Oh, thank God.